Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be talking about PianoTechnology, what it is, what kind of career it is, and how you can get into this career. So PianoTechnology. What is PianoTechnology? PianoTechnology is like an umbrella term that covers piano tuning, piano repairs, which piano tuning and repairs are combined together. And then there's also piano restoration, and there is piano moving, which technically isn't in PianoTechnology, but it's kind of like an offshoot of it that's connected because they have a need also to be moved correctly without damaging them. So piano tuning. What does piano tuning include? Piano tuning is taking a tuning hammer and mutes, and you are using them to change the tension and make the basics of it. You're making the piano sound good by putting it in tune. Because if you've heard a piano that's really out of tune, and then you've heard a piano that's really in tune, you can hear the difference of how it sounds bad. And the difference of being an out-of-tune piano and an in-tune piano would be the difference of someone wanting to practice never if it's really out of tune, or they might practice hours a day. Like when my home piano was really out of tune, I never really liked playing it. I would sometimes, but I never really liked playing it because you'd play it and you'd hear all these harsh notes because the notes would be really bad and out of tune. But when it sounds really good, it's just really enjoyable to play because it sounds good. And that's tuning, making the pitch sound good. And then repairs, that can include anything from cleaning it to changing the tension of things. It can also, at the basics, it's basically knowing how to repair stuff. And that can include broken hammers, broken keys, broken strings. You need to know this stuff because when you go on a call, you go to someone's house and you break a string, you need to know how to fix it. You also need to know how to fix all the you need to know how to fix the hammers if you break the hammer. And it's just good to know all this stuff because you can also market it and tell the guest and customer, hey, your piano could use this repair, or it could use this or that. There's a lot of different things you could suggest to the guest that their piano would need if they need it, only if they need it. And then they can decide if they want to have you do these repairs or not. Because it's just another way you can add another add-on for more potential, for more money. And that's piano tuning and repair. Restoration is a little bit different than all of that. And there's two reasons they would get the restoration would be done on a piano. One case is you're just a piano tuner and repairer, or you're a restorer, a restoration person, and you find a piano that is super duper duper old and very valuable if restored. Because there's some times you can find some really, really old pianos that if they're restored, they could be sold for lots of money. One video that is that exact case where he finds it in a garage that another piano tuner owned that was going to fix it up but never got to it. The video is either called Garage Piano or I think it might be Garage Grand Piano. I'll link it down below. But it's where they restore an entire old grand piano. And the thing is, with this video, they had multiple people working on the process. They had someone working on the wood. They had people working on the keys and stuff. They had people for every step of the process, which maybe that won't be your setup. It might just be you But if you have a really valuable piano that you could potentially sell for lots of money, then restoring it would be valuable and worth the time and money to repair it. Another case is where you get a piano from a customer that it may not be worth the money to get it restored. It might be more valuable and more worth it for them to get a new piano or a used piano that's really, really good condition. But a lot of the time, the reason they want it restored is because it's an heirloom, or it's got a lot of sentimental value to them, and that's why they want to get it done. One of those two things. And most of the time with that, you're going to need to move the piano from their house into your working place, and that's where you need either to know how to move pianos correctly, or you need a piano mover, because there are people that are just piano movers, and they work for companies to move pianos all across the United States, because they do ship pianos all the way across the world to concert halls and such places. So how to get into piano tuning and repair? There's a couple ways you can do it. One of the ways that I started out doing it was through a mentorship. And a mentorship can be getting in contact with a person that is currently in the business, getting in his upper years, getting into the last few years of piano tuning and repair. That's most of the time, because most of the piano tuners out there currently are old, and they're going to be the ones that you're going to get the mentorship from. Or you might get it from someone who is recently retired, or maybe they've been retired for a while now, but you can go to them, you can ask them questions about the field, learn up, and then they can also teach you the things they know. That's what I did, because I went to the piano tuner in my area. I went with my grandpa, and we went to his house because he knows him. Went to his house, and I went and learned for one afternoon. He taught me some stuff, showed me his piano, showed me how to tune, and showed me some of the kind of the basic. He really showed me the repairs. He kind of told me about some of the basic repairs that would be the most common, and he showed me his player pianos that he had fixed up and restored, which would be another goal of mine you could also get into. And then another way of doing it is to do some kind of online course. There's a couple of them. These are more common now because they're more useful now, because a lot of the colleges and tech schools that were teaching piano technology are kind of leaving and not offering that anymore, because it's not as profitable for them, because they're not getting enough students into the field. That's why it needs to be, they need these online courses so people can get access to the knowledge without needing access to a college that teaches it or a mentor. And the one course that I'm currently using is the Piano Technician Academy Piano Tuning and Repair course. I love that. Currently doing that course. But there's also another course that I've heard of, which is the Randy Potterson correspondence course. And I've heard very good things from that course. Very, very good things. So I will link in the description to both of those courses in case you want to take a deeper look into them and what they offer. But yeah, the ultimate thing, both of those two options, mentor or the course, they're both good options for learning the field and getting into it. But the best option would be to get both, a mentor, someone to learn from, and also doing the course, because then you can do the course and then you can show the mentor what you're learning and ask him some questions, and he can be like, hey, you're missing this, or maybe you should do this, And then you can also see how the information differs from your mentor, from the course. And I would suggest if you have any differing information, I would go with what the piano course is going with, because the people from the Piano Technician Academy are very well respected and very well known and very knowledgeable people in the piano field. Same with the Randy Patterson course. And your mentor, not saying that he's not knowledgeable, but a lot of the time, or some of the time at least, people can go into the piano technology field, and since there's no regulation, they can just be like, hey, I'm a piano tuner. I'm going to tune your piano. How do I know if you even know anything? Doesn't matter. I'm the only one in the area. You got to hire me if you want your piano tuned. And some of the time, they don't really know what they're doing as far as like repairs and stuff, because there's been times where they mess things up. So you want to go with the information from the course, but the best thing is to combine the both so you can have information from both of them, and you can also ask the mentor in your area. You can ask him how much he's charging for that area, how much money he makes, if he's willing to give you that information, if he thinks it's still going to be profitable enough to do it full time, if he thinks that you're doing good. And you can just ask him more business-related questions that the courses aren't going to really be able to answer very well. And that's how you get into the tuning and repair. So some of the tools you're going to need, at minimum, the tools you're going to need to get started are obviously piano. You're going to need to get a piano. Either you get one in your house or your apartment or wherever you are, or you need to get access to a piano. Number one scenario, the number one best scenario is just to get one that you'll have access to pretty much all the time. But if you can't do that, then the second option is to get a place where you can have access to a piano to work on. And you want to be able to have access pretty often, so you can work on it pretty often, so you can really get it going and not take you years to complete the course and get the knowledge. But yeah, you're going to need a piano. You're going to need tuning hammer. This is a cheap one from Amazon. And if I was to do anything ever, if I was to do it over again, I would probably get a more expensive, more valuable tuning hammer off the bat. I am getting a professional one, but starting off, if you have a really good hammer, it can really help you, because this one's kind of loose on the strings. Next thing you're going to need, 100%, tuning mutes. And this is where you use to mute the strings, so you're only hearing one string, because not all the notes on the piano are one string per note. That's why you need a piano tuner that knows the scales, because it's very difficult. And you use these to mute the strings, so you only hear one string at a time. And then another thing you could need if you are using oral tuning, which the difference between oral tuning and ETD, which is electronic tuning device, is oral tuning is where you hear the tuning fork. I don't know if you heard that, but you hear the tuning fork and you use it to tune. At least with this tuning fork, there's different ways of doing oral tuning. Like, it depends on which note you start with, but this one is A440, so you'd use it to tune this note, and then after you tune that note, you'll tune the rest of it using intervals and doing it by ear. And that can be a good way to do it, because if you get really, really good at it, the person that you're tuning for is not going to hear if you're a couple cents sharp, a couple cents flat. They're not going to hear that, and you won't either if you're really, really close. But The only problem that is the problem with the oral tuning is that it just takes so darn long to master it. It takes years and years to get really, really, really good at it. Whereas if you use a ETD tuning device, electronic tuning device, it can be so much easier to get going quicker and be able to get into getting money for this career. Because if you're learning orally, you might be learning it a year, 2 years before you even are good enough to be able to go out and tune a customer's piano. But ETD, I would get, the one that I have, the electronic tuning device that I currently have, is TuneLab. And it shows all those waves that are going by. And once you have it in tune, all those waves are going to stop, and there's going to be a green. And that's just one way that you can do it. There's several other electronic tuning devices out there. That's just the one that I went with on my phone. It also has an Android, iOS, and computer software. So I'll link that if you want to look at that. But that's an electronic tuning device. So it's either oral or electronic tuning device. So, recap, you're going to need tuning hammer, invest in a good one, most important tool, mutes, and then either a tuning device or a a tuning fork. And those are the bare essentials along with the piano. Some other things that I suggest that you have, they aren't absolute necessities, but I would suggest getting a pocket notebook, such as this one, because then you can use it to write down your customers, you can use it to write down how long it takes you to tune your first piano, and just a bunch of different things. And it's very beneficial because it's very small, and it can fit in your bag very, very easily, and does not take up very much space. Another thing I would suggest, and this is very, very beneficial if you're doing it's more beneficial if you're doing the Piano Technician Academy course, because I don't know about the Randy Patterson course, if they offer PDF files of the lessons, or if it's just the DVDs. But I would suggest getting a binder to put all the PDFs in there. Currently, I'm using this to put all my receipts for all my tools that I bought, and then I have a sheet marking all my tools, which is very, very beneficial. But just having a binder with all the lessons you learned, all the goals, all the stuff you need to do in the future, and just keeping track of all the business stuff is very, very beneficial to keep it all in one place. So yeah, that's piano tuning and repair and restoration. Getting into restoration is a little bit harder and a little bit different. You're probably going to need to start off piano tuning and repairing, and then you can market the restoration on the side, and then try and build up the restoration, and if you want to, do that full time. But that's PianoTechnology. If you have any questions, you can comment them in the comment section below, and I will link to all the stuff I was talking about, the courses, the videos, everything. I'll link to all of that in the description. So thanks for watching.